All right, all right, class. Good morning. We're gonna have another I review do now, and so as we kind of discussed right here, for what value does the equation have for infinitely many solutions? Which means the coefficients are the same, and the constants are the same, or are equal to each other. Either way works. And so now I see that we have a coefficient being multiplied by a quantity, so I want to distribute each term. So negative 6x minus 12 equals 6 times a, 6a minus 6x. All right, off the bat, so look what we have here. We have two same coefficients, so that checks off that characteristic. They both equal negative 6. And so now my attention can be on negative 12 and 6a. And so one, I could actually pull it to the side and then solve for a here. Oops. In which a equals negative 2. Or what else I could do, add 6x to both sides of the equation, in which the 6 x's cancel out. I'm then left with negative 12 equals 6a. If I was to divide both sides by 6, a is then going to equal negative 2. Bam. Therefore, the a value must equal negative 2 for the equation to have infinitely many solutions. In addition, my next question I always ask you all, what does a need to equal for it to equal no solutions? And so the only difference between infinitely solutions and, so no solutions, let's just describe what that is. It is when we have the same coefficients, but the constants are different. Meaning the constants are not equal to each other. Meaning a can be anything besides negative 2. And so that's right. That's why I want to really stress out here for this explanation. The a value must equal anything but negative 2 for the equation to have 0 solutions, or no solutions, rather. All right, so now let's get into our example. Graphs, word problems, and one solution. Ariana AT and Marcelo MFT have been saving for the past 20 weeks. Their graphs are shown below. Create the equation for both Ariana and Marcelo. And so looking at this graph, let's first create that slope. We have this point of MT is on the y-axis at 80, so that's our point 0, 80. And our point of intersection 5, 105 you see here. So now let's solve for that slope on top. Probably should have done that. All right, so 0, 80, 5, and 105. Again, the subtracting y2 minus y1, 105 minus 80 divided by 5 minus 0, 105, 105 minus 80 is 25. 5 minus 0 is 5. Therefore, the slope is 5. We'll get into the equation in a bit. Next up, we have Ariana at 0, 30. And again, we're going to use that same point, 5, 110. So 0, 30, 5, 105. So 105 minus 30 divided by 5 minus 0, which equals to 75 over 5, which equals to 15. So we have the slope. Excellent job. Now, going back here, we look at the y-intercepts. Y-intercepts again is the units above or below the origin. So if here's the origin, above it is plus 30. That's Ariana. So because the slope is 15, we have equation 15x. Now we include the y-intercept, plus 30. For the other one, slope is 5, so y equals 5x. And now we can consider the y-intercept. It's at 80, so it's plus 80. Those are our two equations. Bam, bam. Now, yikes. No. Now the question I ask for us is which rate saves more money and by how much? So this is where I compare my two slopes. Okay, I have 5x and 15x. 15x is greater, and so when I subtract, 15 minus 5x, that's 10x. Or actually, because we're talking about money, we don't need the x. We don't need that. We can actually just delete that. Just focusing on the values, not the term. So it's 10. And who saves more money? Does a person who puts $15 every $15 for every week, or if a person puts $5 every week? It's actually 15. And so therefore who's who? Plus 30. Ariana. There we go. So Ariana saves $10 per week more than Marcelo. All right, again, units, $10 per week. That's our unit. So if the equation is graph xy, what is indicated the y-intercept of the graph? So when we look at the y-intercept, we have to look at the y-axis. And what does the y-axis say? Yikes. Y-axis says total and savings in dollars. So right here I write the total and savings in dollars. Again, y-intercept deals with when it's at 0 and whatever that y value is. So this means it's the starting, it's the initial, it's when it begins. What's some other words we can use, right? So it's a total and savings when Ariana and Marcelo starts to save. It's like their day 1, or day 0 rather. Now save the expression they use to determine how much they would need to pay. That's what I should have. They would need to pay. And so first, state the expression, right? State the expression. Roll up. Use a different color. Here, state the expression. So that's this part of the equation only. 5x plus 80. Or this part of the equation. 15x plus 30. Where x is, well, if how much they would need to pay is determined by the amount of what we need to pay is determined by the x variable. It is that, like, it's a dependent variable determined by the independent variable. And so if we're looking at the x variable, we need to look no longer than the x-axis, which is stated number of weeks, where x is the number of weeks. So now going into here, These Ariana, it's going up from left to right. It's a positive slope, so it's increasing. And the slope, if you multiply by 2, well, it's 15x, I believe. Maybe Ariana. Yeah, 15x. So if we multiply that by -2, it'll be -30. Marcel, on the other hand, again, it's an increasing as a positive slope, and if we multiply that by -2, we would get -10. So now, now let's go into example 2. A store sold a cross-trainer shoes for a total of $2,220. Style A sold for $70 per pair, and style B for $90 per pair. Create the equation for this area. What does it mean that 1513 is a solution to this equation? So first, let's create the equation. And let's create these great annotations. If we have a total of 2,220, that's equals 2,220. We have two styles pairs. We have style A, right, which is $70 per pair. So we can just write that as just 70x. Now we have also style B, which sold for $90 per pair. That's a different style, a different variable. We just write that as 90y. And ultimately, because putting these two together as shown by and, we're adding this all together. So I know it's kind of mixed up here, but let's just rewrite it. We have 70x plus 90y equals 2,220. And so now we have to look at our point, 1513. And again, very crucial to know, our x is going to be 15. So again, this is a point with an x value, which is 15. So we just substitute x for 15. And then we add our y value, which is 13. So 90 times 13. Ultimately, all equals 2,220. Let's see if this works out. 70 times 15, 10,050. 90 times 13, 1,170. If I was to add these two together, 2,220 equals 2,220. So this is a solution. So yes to a solution. And now what does it mean? So what does it mean? And looking at all these examples, so it takes 15 style A shows during the sale to see 2,020 customers. That is true, but it's not inclusive to our Y value. There's nothing that talks about no style B here. Nothing about style B is shown. Here though, B, it takes 15 style A shoes during the sale until 13 style shoes are remaining. So they're both valued there. C, there are 15 style shoes available at the start of promotion. So if it's at the start, the point will then be 50. Well, it's kind of interesting because it's style A, so it'll be 15, 0 at the start promotion. Yeah, that would make sense. And then so during the selling 15 style A, shoes are being sold each day. That more belongs with 15x, like in which x represents each day. So the one that really makes sense is B. They include both units. All right, now let's go into the exit ticket. Create the equation of both lines. So let's see. We have the point right here for beginners. We have at 0, 60, and let's go use this point, 180, 12, or 12, 180 rather. So 180 minus 60, 12 minus 0, which equals 120 over 12, which equals 10. And knowing that the y-intercept is 60, y equals 10x because slope, plus 60 because the y-intercept. Now let's look at the veterans plan. Let's see the points here. We have 0, 40. And yeah, go all the way to the top, 12, 220. Always pick the points you can clearly identify. Like a point like here, it's kind of hard to see. Like this point, yes, it's on a line of the X, but it's kind of, it may be 170, may not, we're not too sure. So always try to do your best to look at a point where the graph shows distinctly the X and Y values. So 220 minus 40, 12 minus 0. 220 minus 40 is 180. 180 divided by 12. 12 minus 0 is 12. 180 divided by 12, that is 15. So y equals, because slope is 15, it's 15x. And looking at our y-intercept is 40, so plus 40. Bam, bam. So quick equations, got it. Whose plan has the bigger rate? Well, 15 is greater than 10, so the veterans plan, let's go for now B. The veterans plan has a larger rate by $5, right? That's our Y, $5 per month. Okay. If the equation is graphed in X, then what is indicated by the y-intercept of the graph? So going back to here, y-intercept. Let's see. It says the total cost of the plan. The total cost of the plan. In what units? In dollars. And when? It's usually like when what? This is where we use the words begin, start, when it begins. So let's see, when we start paying for the monthly plan. Yeah, when we start paying for the monthly membership. Good. And state the expression can be used to determine how much you would need to pay. So here, D, again, what are the expressions? That's this part of the equation. So we have 10x plus 60. And this part of the equation, so that's 15x plus 40. Where x is, looking at our graph, not months, the number of months. The number, I did it again, the number of months. All right, and lastly, E. What does it mean that 410 is in the equation? So 410, no, it's actually, okay, maybe, yeah, 400, right? Yeah, 400. So that's right here. And we know that X variable is 400 and 100. We know the X is the months, Y is the dollars. So it $400 you're paying for 4 months. Or for 4 months you paid $100. Either way works. All right, thank you all and enjoy this lesson.